welcome to NOV Live. I'm Michael Gaines, and glad you're joining us today as we continue our conversation, bringing you technical experts and perspectives from around the world and here from NOV. So glad you're joining us on today's episode as we take a moment to have a great conversation with women around NOV. We have the opportunity to talk to a group of women who are helping continue to forge and shape the technology that we provide here at NOV, and also able to provide great perspectives that have helped and continue to help shape the technology, our company, and our perspectives. So we're glad to be able to showcase a panel that will be able to provide some great conversation and perspective. So we're honored to be able to have them join us today. So before we get there, we want to bring in a woman who is always helping provide some perspectives here on the show. So Shelby Dumaine, to provide us some context on today's conversation. Of course, actually today's conversation was Shelby's brainchild. So we're appreciative of the efforts and all of the work that she put into that. But good to see you, Shelby, and happy International Women's Week here at NOV and International Women's Day as well, right?
Yes, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that a lot. I'm so excited. I think it's like the most wonderful time of the year. I love it. International Women's Day. Any chance to lift up each other and highlight the women who are making it happen every single day. I love the opportunity. So I'm really excited for the discussion today. We're going to have a few questions that we're going to ask our panelists on the show. But if you have any questions you would like to ask them about maybe their experience in energy or what, any of their thoughts, you can do so by commenting in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. You can type out your question there. And like always with the show, I'm in the comments the entire time, reading everybody. I can already see people from all over the world tuning in and letting us know where they're watching from. So if you want to let us know that as well, you are more than welcome to let us know where in the world you're watching from. I love to see that. But yes, like I said, if you have a question for any of our panelists, you can go ahead and put those in the comments at any point in the show. And at the end, we're going to get to as many of those questions as we can. I know I'm really excited about this week. And so if you have your questions, go ahead and put those in. But before we get going on the full discussion, we're not skipping it. I want to ask you a question. So it's time for Rig Geek Post of the Week.
Rig Geek's Post of the Week.
All right. So like Michael mentioned, this week at NOV, we're celebrating International Women's Week. I know it's International Women's Month, but more specifically, Monday was International Women's Day, the official day. So my Rig Geek question, we'll get it up on the screen, is in what year was the first International Women's Day held? A hint maybe. I was shocked with the year it was held. So if you think you know the answer, go ahead and put that in the comments. Let us know. And at the end of the show, after we do all of our questions with our panelists, we're going to reveal that answer. So stick around to see if you got it right.
All right, man. Those are always the tough ones because there's I don't feel like there's wiggle room. You have a specific date you're looking for. So, all right. Well, we'll look forward to those comments throughout the program. Thanks, Shelby. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, as Shelby mentioned, we are celebrating, of course, International Women's Day, which, of course, was Monday, but all throughout the month. And on today's show on NOV Live, we want to be able to bring in some perspectives and conversation from women who are helping participate and help shape the technology and throughout our company. So what we're going to do is go ahead and introduce our panel today. Starting out with Allison Hablinski, who is the VP of Marketing here at NOV. We also have Gay Wathen, who is the VP and General Manager, Mobile Rig. Also, we're bringing in Karen Chivico Rosas, who is Latin America Business and Inside Sales Lead, and Tracy Quillin, who is the Regional Sales Manager for Amaron Pull Products. So thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we are excited to have you all here. I know I've been able to talk with some of you, work with some of you, and know that the work and really just working with you is great. So even better to be able to have you on today's program. So what we want to do for today's format is we have a few questions that the team put together. Actually, Shelby helped create and wanted to get your thoughts and perspectives. We all are have varying perspectives and experiences, and certainly your experiences are really really valued, and want to hear your thoughts. So wanted to start out, and I'll actually start with you, Allison, and then we can kind of go through, but wanted to talk about a little bit more about what your area of specialty or focus is here at NOV, and the types of projects that you're passionate about.
Sure. Well, I'm the VP of Marketing, and really our team acts as an in-house, full suite marketing agency almost for the company. So we support all segments and business units within the company, and we're responsible for communications, brand, social media, advertising, really kind of everything for the most part that we externalize as a company. So, and the projects that I'm passionate about right now and things that we're working on that we're excited about, we have a handful of product launches coming up this year, which is really exciting. So the great thing about NOV is that we've been able to continue to innovate and create new technologies in this year that's been challenging for everyone. So, yeah.
Great. All right. Gay?
I am actually over all of the mobile rig group. We have manufacturing as well as service around the United States, and trying to reach out more into the international market. So we, as everyone knows, it's been a struggle over the last couple of years, and we're really working hard on efficiencies, listening to our customers, see what next generation rigs are going to be. I've been passionate of saying I want to make a difference when it comes to mobile rigs, because it's been the same thing for all my life, which has not been short, and really to make something different in our industry, and so that's what we've really been working towards.
Great. All right, Karen.
Hi, well, I'm from Venezuela. I'm currently based out of Bogota, Colombia. I have been with NOV for almost 10 years. It will be 10 years this December. I have a say that, I always say that, do it with passion. Passion will be the unconditional motor that will guide you through the most difficult time with success. For the lessons that we learned last year with the pandemic, I think that what I'm most passionate about in the inside sales role and the area business process manager role is the interaction and the dynamic between all the groups that work inside of the company to hit customer commitment, that we are together in a single goal to achieve the commitments that we have across the world, in particularly in my position in Latin America. And also the dynamic between the sales role and the area business process manager position. I'm very passionate about the budgeting and the forecasting that we need to do, most of all during this difficult and changing times that we are facing.
Great. All right, and Tracy.
Well, thank you for having me. I'd have to say that my specialty at NOV is that I have a lot of technical expertise in our products and how they relate to the applications our customers are trying to use these products in. But most importantly, it's being the voice of the customer inside NOV so that we can create solutions that will solve our customers' problems long term. And for the projects, things I'm passionate about, new product development is always critical. We have to constantly be looking forward. And also making a better business, product rationalization, restructuring, how we actually do our business and trying to think outside the box. But I guess for me personally, the most thing that I get passionate about is reinvesting and developing the people around me and trying to create the next generation that's going to lead this company.
One of the questions that we ask often, and again, I'm referencing Shelby because she was one that actually started asking many of our guests the question was really getting perspective and advice on how to really maybe give perspective to those that are entering the energy industry, and specifically as you being able to share some of your perspective, if you have the opportunity to talk to other women who are just starting out in the energy industry, what advice or perspective or things to consider would you share with them? And again, I'll start with you, Allison.
Yeah. So in the spirit of International Women's Day and Women's Week, so I'm a mother of 2 small children, as I'm sure some of our other panelists are mothers as well. And I think advice I would give to any woman that's, either considering joining the industry or is newly in the industry is to just go for it. That this community of people that I've worked with in NOV and then even outside of our company, but in the industry as a whole, has been really welcoming and accepting. And, during this time of change, it really feels like there's, more focus on diversifying our voices. And so I'd say just to say yes to opportunities that come your way and to not be intimidated, because this has really been a welcoming and, again, a very accepting industry. And the people in this industry are the best. So that would be my advice.
Okay.
That one's kind of an easy one for me, because I had 40 years at NOV as of last month, and I graduated with a psychology degree from Texas A&M. So if you would have told me 40 years ago I was going to be in this position, I would have told you were crazy. But I would tell anybody, don't ever say no. You don't ever know where you're going to end up. And I'm the poster child for that at this point, because, the opportunities in this industry are endless. I think you can go anywhere in the world. You can pretty much do anything that you want to do. You don't have to be degreed to a certain thing to make a difference. And I also think it's great in our industry. And I see this as a positive, being a female in this industry, because we're able to bring something else to the table that a man might not be able to. And going to visit a customer, lots of times you can bring that more personal aspect of, you go to their office and you see their kids' picture, and I think you kind of have a little bit more of an advantage to be able to get on a personal level with them of, oh, I didn't know your kid played soccer, or those kind of things that a man probably would talk about hunting or fishing, but I think we have just a little bit of a different perspective that we can bring, and I think we lots of times leave a different impression with that customer or vendor or whatever. So I think we have a great advantage in this industry that is so male dominated.
Karen, what would be some advice you'd give to a woman entering the energy industry?
Well, I'm also a mother of 2 boys, 2 babies. First, I would like to start saying that there is still a misconception in our culture that a working mom cannot be a great mom, or the opposite, right? So some people think that you cannot do well 2 things. So we need to leave behind that misconception, and that everything must come together perfectly. Perfection doesn't exist. We need to look for a balance and harmony between those 2 important roles, as a wife, as a mom, as a working mom, that we have in our industry. The opportunities will be as big as you think you are, and you need to go for them. You need to support your colleagues, because if we are talking about gender equality and equal opportunities, we need to start to believe in ourselves and in our colleagues, and we need to support ourselves. Finally, I believe that no job is too big or too small for us. We need to look to create a positive impact, no matter in which position we are. We need to create a positive impact every day. In the details, you will see the difference, and we will set the difference.
Thank you. So Tracy, what about you?
Oh, I love this question. First of all, find mentors, many of them, both male and female. People that you can trust, people that you can be authentic with, and they will help lift you up to be everything that you can be. So let's face it, women in energy, many times we look around the room and we are the only woman in the room, and that's okay. Embrace it, because that diversity and experience that we can provide, and that we can just give such a unique perspective to any situation. And I agree completely with what Gay said. You know, a lot of people, when you go to see customers, we can connect so much better at just a different level that I think leaves a really great impression about us, our business, and the company that we represent.
Man, those are some really great perspectives. I really appreciate you all sharing those. So I wanted to follow up with a third question. Before I do, I did want to remind those that are watching us online, if you have questions for any of our panelists, feel free to go ahead and type those in. You can, if you're watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, and we'll be able to see those questions. Actually, Shelby will be able to see those, and then we will try to get to as many of those as we can in the duration of our program. So again, if you have questions for our panelists who have graciously joined us today, feel free to type those in, or any comments, and we'll try to feature those today. So the last question I have for you all is really looking ahead, kind of down the line. I know that I've recognized that I'm very much a futurist. Like, I'm always thinking of things in the future, down the line, 5, 10 plus years. And so, you know, when you're looking at things that are coming up, and really more specifically thinking about the future of energy, what is it that that you're excited about, or that you're looking forward to? And again, I'll start with you, Allison.
Yeah. So kind of sticking with our theme of, you know, how the women can impact the industry, I'm most excited about just growth in general. The past year, you know, again, you know, speaking around moms and women in the industry having to be home, working at home with their kids at home, potentially small children, older children, or just, you know, being isolated this past year. I'm excited for the growth that's going to come of that. And I think as an industry, we've really realized that we're able to be more flexible with the work-life balance and how that impacts employees' mental health and their performance and behaviors at work as well. So it's not a technology-focused answer, Michael, sorry, but it's more just kind of general, you know, career movement and growth. I feel like, you know, again, there's this kind of buzz of change right now in this new year. And so I think in the next 6 months, it'll feel even better. And so I'm excited for what, you know, the rest of this year looks like. And then even, you know, the next 5 to 10 years in terms of what it means for a work-life balance and a woman's perspective in this space. So,
yeah. And no apology needed, because that sounds like a solid foundation for technology, innovation, and development. So that sounds spot on. Thank you. So Gay, what are your thoughts in looking down the line into things that you're excited about in energy?
I'm excited about taking some of the, we have geniuses that work at NOV and the engineering, and I after talking to our engineering group, of taking what's been in the drilling side and sizing that business to mobile rig, and talking to our customers through all the ups and downs of the cycles of our industry. It's always about the people, and how do it's about people and the safety of it. So talking to our engineers, being able to get robotics on our rigs are super exciting to me. And, you know, it's going to be safer for our employees, but it's also challenging. Every time we have one of these downturns, people will move out of the Permian Basin and say, this is my last time. And how do you get those guys back? And so if we can take robotics or any sort of automation and put it on our rigs, that's just going to help our customers. So, you know, listening to their challenges and being able to address those that NOV has already created, I'm super excited about that.
Great, man. I'm excited now. So thank you for sharing that. Karen, we'll move over to you.
Well, the development over these last 10 years to see more women in the oilfield world, it wasn't very common to see women 10 years ago at the field. Now we see that more and more now. In the future, I'm excited to see more women in the decision-making roles to continue gaining experience and expertise in that area. Also, in downhole, I'm very excited to see what we are doing with our agitator, with our selective motor, because the world is demanding us to create technologies that will be cost efficient, that develop safety and in harmony with the environment. So we are seeing exciting things in downhole in our technology, and I'm very looking forward to see what the next new years will bring.
Oh, that's great. All right, Tracy, I know that you have just been ready to go. So.
Oh gosh. Well, what Allison said actually just leads right into what my thoughts were. This last year has really been changing for many companies, and how we treat that work-life balance, and also how do we support our children in remote learning? How do we support workers working remotely? And so what I'm excited about is 5G. And the fact that cities and small towns are really embracing the idea of creating smart cities. And NOV is partnering with those towns and cities, as well as wireless companies, to provide the infrastructure solutions to keep us all connected. So, I mean, it all just goes one-on-one with each other.
Right. Man, well, I really appreciate you all sharing and really being willing to come on today's show. I know that it's resonated with me, and through it certainly listened to you, but I feel like I'm watching this blur of comments from our viewers. So obviously it's resonating with them as well. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and bring Shelby in to get some of those questions answered. I think it's always the good bad problem where I think we may have more questions than time, but fortunately I don't have to make that decision. I'll leave it to Shelby. So Shelby can, she's the expert. So Shelby, what questions do we have?
That's right. It always comes on me to prioritize. So I'll do my best.
Right.
I'll do my best.
That's right.
So this first one actually comes from Mai on LinkedIn, and I'm going to read it because she had a really good thought too. So that's why I'm kind of turning. But she said, as a panel of senior leaders and also working mothers or partners, what tools and programs do you partake in to help balance work and personal life? She also mentioned, it can be maybe internal company programs or external programs that really helps your life be more balanced and more efficient and more fruitful. So, summary, what tools or programs have y'all been able to utilize to help with that? And this can go to anyone.
I'll jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
How I try to find a little bit better work balance is I really spend a lot of time personally giving back to my community. It's that release and making things around me better, whether it be through work projects or serving on booster clubs and such like that. But that's how I do that, to try to keep a little bit better of a work-life balance. And thank God for iPhones, because in text messaging, because I group text my family all the time, trying to keep it all together. So a lot of dividing and conquering in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll jump in too. I'd say I admittedly don't do a great job of this right now. And I think a lot of us would feel the same way in this last year, where we've been working remotely and everything is at your fingertips all the time. It's really hard to turn it off, right? And kind of have that balance and be kind of at home, even though you're at home all day. So I literally just take my iPhone and put it in my bedroom on my night table and flip it over and say, okay, for these 2 hours, I'm going to be a mom and be a wife, and kind of just dedicate my time that way, which is not a very, automated or technical tool, but it's really just kind of me physically departing from technology for a bit. That's really helped me kind of carve some protective time for me as a mother and a wife.
I would like to add in that subject. For example, in the country where I live during the pandemic, we faced a complete lockdown for 5 months. So you can imagine to be working remotely with 2 babies, and also one of them has to attend to virtual classes. So we have everything together at home for 5 months. it was a huge challenge for us as a family. What I believe is the key is the support that you have at your home, the dynamic between the family, the communication, and also we need to constantly put our roles in perspective and to evaluate ourselves. How much time I am dedicating to work, how efficient I'm being at work. And then as a mom, you need to also put that in perspective and to see what do I need to improve, because the time is constantly changing and we have different challenges every week. So I think that to keep that in mind, we keep focus and we maintain that work-life balance.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I have another question. I'll keep going with some of the audience ones. This one comes from Kim on LinkedIn, and she's wondering, and it's kind of similar, but have any of you been involved in any professional organizations that have helped kind of advance you in your career? I know, for example, I love American Marketing Association. I've been to many of their meetings, and I really enjoy them. I feel like it's helped a lot with networking. So are there any other organizations maybe specific to energy or oil and gas or leadership in general that y'all would recommend?
I'll step in on that one. I've been involved with the Association of Energy Service Companies, the AESC, for, I don't know, since 1993. And I can honestly say it changed my work life, my professional life. You make these relationships. That's what our industry is about. It's so much about relationships. And we just recently, the AESC last month merged with the PISA organization. And so now I'm co-chair of the new organization, which is called the Energy Workforce and Technology Council. And I'm now co-chair with Rod Larson, who is president of Oceaneering. So I can't even tell you how important it is to be involved in other organizations, whether it's a trade organization or something else that you're passionate about, which I think we all have our extracurricular things, whether it's, Aggie Club or whatever. But that particular trade organization, I've learned so much, and our business grew tenfold, hundredfold. That's how I became NOV. I was a small company that was bought by NOV 8 years ago, and it was through that organization that it basically happened.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's excellent. Any others before I go to the next question? No, I'll go ahead and move on. I will say, yeah, American Marketing Association also great, like I mentioned, for fun, but that is more on the marketing side. But I totally agree with you, Gay. I think having that kind of outside thing to still learning about the industry maybe isn't specifically connected to your company and what you do every day is still so important to keep learning and growing. So I love that. And this next question, I think it's so fun. I was excited as soon as I saw it come in. I was like, oh, I want to ask that one. This comes from Kamal on LinkedIn. And she was asking, what is your power motto or something that you tell yourself when you need that extra bit of confidence? We talked about it before the show, but I tend to do I hype myself up with a dance. Our audience doesn't see that, probably for the best. Where we start a show, they don't see that part. But what do y'all do to kind of hype yourself up and increase your confidence?
I'll start if no one wants to jump in. So I think it's not really a hype up. It's more of when I feel a sense of, being overwhelmed or stressed. And again, being a mother has helped me with this. When I had my son 3 years ago, it's that overwhelming feeling of, how do I do this, right? Like this is intense. It's something I've never done before. These are new waters. How do I navigate? And so the idea of taking it one day at a time, that's really helped me when I felt, this sense of, overwhelmingness or anxiety is, look, it's one day, we can get through, one day of this project or one day of this, challenge or task. So that's kind of my go-to motto when I start to feel a bit stressed or overwhelmed, that it's one day, everyone can do one day. And if you're really stressed, you can even think it's 1 hour. Let's get through this 1 hour and then this one day. So I think just, in my mind, breaking down timeframes seems to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I have to do that sometimes too. Is like, let me just get from point A to point B, and then we'll go from there. Absolutely.
I can say I when I've had to wonder how we're going to get through a downturn or whatever, I just realized, and I know this is a cliche thing that NOV always says, is we're a part of a team, and I feel like everybody on my team is pulling on the same end of the rope, and that makes a difference when. Yeah, ultimately you are the one that has to make a decision, but we all collectively kind of do it together. And that's really what helps me to know that I have all these guys that are a bunch of guys still have my back. And that's what's extremely helpful.
In my case, I will say that do it with passion, everything you do. That will guide you definitely to the most difficult times. I had a personal experience when we relocated as a family to Colombia. My youngest baby had 7 months. He was a premature, so he looked like a 3-month baby. So when we got into the country with the relocation and everything, we were just in planning time, preparing the budget for the next year. So that specific week, my son got a virus and we went to the clinic. He had like a false diagnostic of having a genetic disease. So you can imagine that was one of the biggest lessons I have faced in my life. The same week happened everything. He was at the hospital. I have the job, the stress, everything. As we think, the team that we manage, the role that we play is a key. When you have a team that supports you, and at that time, 2 years ago, my manager provided a great support to me so I can face that situation. At the end, everything ended up excellent. It was a false alarm, but at that time, I felt that my world was falling apart with so many things. So at the end, with the support that I got from everyone in my team, I was able to focus on my son's health and then coming back to work and to the action. And I felt, okay, we need to take one thing at a time, one day at a time, as Allison said, because sometimes you might feel that everything is coming together, but at the end, you will be focused and everything will go smoothly.
I'll say something. Mine is completely silly. So the complete opposite of the seriousness that you were just discussing, Karen. But I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. So I'll start singing I Won't Back Down in the back of my head. I'll just start singing the lyrics to that song.
That's yeah, I think it's those things. It's both the really serious stuff that's happened in life, and it's also I think it's a mix of and the silly things, the singing Tom Petty and stuff like that. That's what gets us through kind of the highs and lows. Absolutely.
You just have to get through the moment.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. And I'll go with a couple more questions, just looking at time so that we get to everything. And we actually had some that are more specific. So David on LinkedIn, he has a question for you, Gay. He said, workover rigs are ready for change. So glad that that's your view. Do you think the resistance to change will be able to be overcome with the value of robotics or automation return on investment? Excuse me.
Well, everybody always has a dream until they find out the price tag. But at the end of the day, the last 2 conferences I've been to over the last couple of weeks has been about ESG. And that is the buzzword for all of the equipment. And so our customers are being forced by their customers to look at the options. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow when you're talking about the price tag, but AC type situations are going to be more expensive. Robotics, those kind of things could end up replacing employees. So you're already going to have that expense. So I think it is going to be a little bit longer before all of that happens, but every day, every week, we have customers calling us asking about the same things. And, we're NOV, we're supposed to be those people that come up with those ideas. So it is coming, and I think they're going to have to be paying for it. But we're hoping to come up with ways to not jump in with both feet for the whole 100% everything, but try to get to a situation where we can piecemeal it a little bit to help them with their ROI and make it not so painful in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that. I know we haven't had as many technical questions, so I was throwing that out there.
Thanks.
But you did great, of course. And so this last question, it's for Karen, so we're going to go to you first. But if anybody else on the panel has experience working in the field or on site, you can also chime in too. So Karen, this question was: do you think that the experience of having worked on site both in land and offshore rigs helped strengthen your character as a woman in the oil industry?
Well, when I began my career before NOV, I worked as a mood blogger. I was in offshore rig only for 1 year. Then I worked as an application engineer for 3 years before joining NOV, which opens the opportunity to go to join the company as an inside sales. So I have like a middle of both roles, a brief role in the field and over these last 10 years as in sales. I never imagined myself as a petroleum engineer working in sales, but I think that this has been a huge opportunity to prove myself different skills that I didn't have. I didn't know I have. So I believe that we will into those roles that what we saw 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And did anyone else want to chime in on anything? Maybe working. I don't know if anyone else has worked.
I have actually. I've spent, before I came on board with Pole Products just recently, but before that I spent quite a bit of time within our production and midstream group, and I spent quite a bit of time on production workover rigs and in the field, really trying to get the customers to understand the little nuances to our products. And boy, you come back with so much perspective and how your products work in those applications, what works, what doesn't, what improvements we can make for them. So anytime that I can recommend to anyone new in our industry or even existing has been around for a while to get that hands-on experience at the well site or at the job site is so invaluable. It brings us as a manufacturer so much better perspective of how things are being used.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, before I pass it back over to Michael, I did just want to say one last thing before we kind of close out the questions and everything. Is that all of you ladies, thank you so much for joining. And the main thing I wanted to mention is y'all were nominated by the people in your segments in the business. And so I think that, we didn't just, we'll do you and we'll do you. It was the teams and the people around you identified y'all as experts and as women who we wanted to hear from. And so I think it's really excellent. I really enjoyed all of your input and advice. It's stuff that I know I can use. And I think there's a lot of other people, both men and women who can take from what you've all said today. So thank you so much. And I'll give it back over to Michael, but I just wanted to say that I want to let the audience know that, y'all were nominated and how incredible that was and how much I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll echo and what is it? Copy and paste. So yeah, what Shelby said. And yeah, we do appreciate your coming on today and for all of the team's contributions and those that have certainly paved the way come before us and those that you're able to mentor and work with as well. So thank you so much. So Allison, Gay, Karen, and Tracy, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Shelby, for helping organize today's program. I know it was really great. And again, appreciate all the questions and comments that all of the viewers provided as well. So thank you all for joining us today. And so on behalf of everyone here at NOV, thank you for watching and for listening. And we look forward to talking to you again next time. Thank you.